Hey everyone, what's up? It's Sarah and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to talk about Geoffrey Paschel again. There are some updates regarding his sentencing. Even though he hasn't been sentenced yet, the DA has come out and made a statement regarding his sentencing. There has been some social media activity on his Instagram account, and I also just wanted to share some concerns that I had regarding his trial, and just if there might be a possibility that his conviction could be overturned. So let's jump right into the video. Last week, Geoffrey Paschel was convicted. He was found guilty of aggravated kidnapping, domestic assault, and interfering with an emergency call. We have been informed from the district attorney that he will be sentenced to a minimum of 12 years in prison with no possibility of parole based on his prior criminal convictions. So this is from Sarcasm, and of course I'll link the article below, but this is what they had to say. Aggravated kidnapping is a Class B felony. Because of his criminal history, Paschel is a Range 2 offender facing a sentence between 12 and 20 years in prison without the possibility of parole. Paschel has convictions out of Blount County for possession with intent to sell a Schedule I controlled substance and possession with intent to sell Schedule II cocaine. He also has 2 federal drug trafficking convictions out of Eastern District of Texas. At sentencing, prosecutors will use these and other misdemeanor convictions to seek an enhanced sentence. I have previously reported in my last video on this topic that the minimum sentence for the aggravated kidnapping was 8 years. Now, there's a lot to take into consideration when you ponder as to why he would not accept a plea deal and go straight to a jury trial. One of the biggest reasons in my mind is because he thought that he could manipulate the jury, manipulate the judge, manipulate the prosecutor perhaps, and possibly be totally exonerated. He had stated that that was his ultimate goal. What is so baffling to people is this aggravated kidnapping charge, which does carry such a stiff minimum sentence. He was offered a plea deal that would have meant no jail time. He would have just had these convictions on his record. Well, that wasn't good enough for him, and he went through with having a trial, and the result was 3 guilty verdicts. Geoffrey, once the verdict was read, he was immediately remanded into custody, and he will be held until his sentencing on December 3rd. So that is where we're at now. Yesterday, one of his sons actually made a post on Geoffrey's Instagram and had this to say. Now, this post has since been deleted, but I think it says a lot beyond what it actually says. So let me just read what it says. Please help. This is Dakota, and I'm writing this on behalf of my siblings and the rest of our family. If you don't already know, my dad is an amazing guy. He is always helping make this world a better place, and I have never met a person that works as hard as he does. We are all overwhelmed, devastated, and heartbroken about what happened to him on October 7th. This country is supposed to be built on justice for all. My dad trusted the system. The court system is supposed to give people what they deserve. He doesn't deserve what has happened to him. Please support us in getting him the help he needs. You have been there for him in the past few years, and it means so much to him and all of us. My grandmother is helping collect donations. Any amount helps. And then he lists the Venmos and PayPals that are accepting donations and then says thank you. An immediate backlash ensued once this was posted. And by the way, I have to credit 90 Day the Melanated Way for this. That's where I got the screenshot of the caption from. So thank you to them. Backlash started immediately. People couldn't fathom that Geoffrey's child was actually posting this on Geoffrey's behalf. My feelings is, and I think this is the general consensus, is that people are heartbroken for the children, for his children. I've heard he has 12 kids. The thought of them living over a decade without their father as a daily part of their lives is tragic. I don't think anybody disputes that. What is reprehensible is that I don't know how old Dakota is, but I don't think Geoffrey has any adult children, or like in their 20s children. So maybe this is a teenager. I'm not sure. I'm sure somebody will comment down below. But this child, in my opinion, has had to have been essentially groomed to insert themselves in this position. Dad poses to his family, because obviously grandma is on board as well, that he was completely railroaded by the system, that he is the ultimate victim in all of this, and poor him. This actually isn't uncommon in DV situations. We've seen a lot of times children being used as leverage and weaponized in custody battles. It looks like Geoffrey is trying to utilize his children as some sort of character witness for him. But we know that DV perpetrators can act one way around the world and act a completely different way behind closed doors. And I think the reason why this was taken down was that this was just so poorly received. Ultimately, I very much believe the victim in this case. I think that the verdicts were correct. I think that while he is looking at a very stiff minimum sentence of 12 years without parole, this is a self-fulfilled prophecy. He could have taken a plea deal that would have said no jail time, but his ego and his narcissism ruled out, and they ruled over logic, and they ruled likely over any legal advice that he was given. So that is where we are as far as the verdict. Now, something that has been talked about that I've been following and I've been concerned about is, could Geoffrey have the verdict overturned? Could an appeals court uphold this mistrial request that his defense attorney asked for during the trial? So I'm taking from a Monsters and Critics article, and of course I'll link it down below. But apparently, while the victim was on the stand recounting the incident, the June 2019 incident, which is what brought everyone to trial to begin with, the victim claimed she had pictures on her phone that Geoffrey deleted of previous marks that he had inflicted on her. Geoffrey's defense attorney immediately objected, and the judge called for the jurors to step out. Geoffrey's attorney then made his argument that Kristen volunteered 404B evidence, which is bringing up prior bad acts, and that was a grounds for a mistrial. Geoffrey's defense attorney asserted that the bell cannot be unrung and that the jury was unfairly tainted against his client. He implored the court for a mistrial because the victim's statement ruins Geoffrey's presumption of innocence. Instead of calling to have an entirely new trial as a result of the claim made by the victim, the judge instructed the jury to disregard what Kristen said. So the judge did not think that there was adequate evidence for grounds for a mistrial and ruled that the trial could go on, which did ultimately lead in the jury convicting Geoffrey on all counts. They deliberated for less than 2 hours before they returned the verdict. Now, human beings sit on juries, and as a human being, I know that I can't just unhear something I heard. I can, to the best of my ability, disregard it and have it not factor into my decision making and my deliberation. Now, to be completely honest, I am concerned because I do agree with the verdict. I agree that the verdict was right and it was just. I am concerned that there may be grounds for a mistrial here. One thing that came to mind when thinking about this fear of a possible appeal and a mistrial and a conviction being overturned in regards to Geoffrey is what just happened recently with Bill Cosby and his conviction being overturned. And his conviction wasn't overturned because anyone believed he was innocent. It was because there was legal mishandlings of his case. Prosecutors, defense attorneys, the judge, the jury, everyone has to be on high alert that everything is going according to the rule book laid out, because in our quest for justice and our eagerness to convict perpetrators, if things don't happen according to the legal fairness set forth, then we could see guilty people walk free. And I think that that is what happened in this Bill Cosby situation. So what happened was he was convicted in 2018. I'm taking this from a Time article and I'll link that down below as well. He was sentenced to 3 to 10 years. He had already served almost 3 years, I believe. So Bill Cosby, when his conviction was overturned, he was immediately released. And what happened was the courts ruled that Bill Cosby gave really damning testimony in a civil case, and he only gave that testimony after a prosecutor promised not to pursue a criminal case against him. So them using that testimony in order to convict him in 2018 went against Bill Cosby's Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Many people, myself included, were shocked, stunned, outraged at the court's ruling. To us, it was like, did they just say he didn't do it? And that is not the case at all. It's just literally a legal technicality. And this is what has me concerned when I was watching what happened with the Paschel trial. Could this be a legal technicality? And this is just me with my thoughts, just, talking to you guys. And I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think? Do you think this was grounds for a mistrial? Do you think that what Geoffrey's defense attorney said rang true, that the bell can't be unrung, that the jury cannot unhear what they heard? I don't know. So definitely comment your thoughts and let me know what you think down below. It will be interesting to see how this progresses through the legal system. Geoffrey is looking at significant jail time. And if you have kept up on the photos, the evidence, the testimony, and take into consideration the mountains of testimony from previous partners about the way they were treated, I wouldn't call that his sentence unjust by any means. It is heartbreaking to see his children inserted and, in my opinion, being manipulated by their father to prey on the public, especially for financial support. I think that there was very valid criticism of the prosecution in this case and valid criticism of the defense. And I think that he probably is trying to get money or funds for a more high-powered defense attorney, but this is not the way to do it. So like I said, you guys, make sure you let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Reality Squad, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care. Have a good one.